Hey guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be continuing our Noob to Godly series on Dungeon Quest. So in the last episode, we covered the entirety of the canals and Ghastly Harbor on insane difficulty. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering Ghastly Harbor on nightmare difficulty and the entirety of Steampunk Sewers. Now if you guys like this video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Now let's get started. So when we left off on the last episode, this is our current loadout. We have a purple Raiders Warrior helmet, a gray Raiders Warrior armor, and a blue Captain's Anchor. So my set is pretty good for being Ghastly Harbor insane. The only thing quite weak is my armor since it's gray and not fully upgraded. But I think this is all still decent. We also have 2 survival warrior rings from tier 1 Goliath. The green one over here has boss damage increase, and same with this blue one that also has boss damage increase. So this set is overall pretty good, and it actually gives me quite a lot of survivability. And for my skill points, I just put all my points in physical power as usual. So yeah, this is a pretty good set so far, and surprisingly our HP is not too bad. So now let's get right into Ghastly Harbor and see how we do on Nightmare. Alright, here we are. So if you guys remember in the last episode, if you actually watched through everything, you'll know that I actually defeated Gregg in Ghastly Harbor. And this is the first time I actually defeated Gregg, and because I just leveled up to 115, I got some Nightmare items. So for a reminder of my loot drop, I got a Phantom Striker, a green Sharktooth Blade, and what else did I get? I'm pretty sure I got one other thing. Oh yeah, these dual Phantom Axes. I forgot those were a Nightmare item. But because I haven't beaten Nightmare yet, I'm not allowed to use those items right now, so I just keep them in my inventory. And I'm pretty sure if our luck does continue like this, we will be able to defeat Gregg in later dungeons. Only when we reach Abyssal Void or Yokai Peak, then we might struggle with Gregg a little bit. Anyways, let's start. So I'm expecting to be able to beat this first time, maybe with a few deaths here and there because of the damage dealt, but let's just see how we do. Their health is 9 billion something. So that's quite low, and it's definitely lower than pre-nerf HP solo. So yeah, it should be pretty easy. Now you guys might have noticed that I'm using Blade Storm over Mighty Leap. And that's because Voldex actually gave it a buff, so its cooldown is technically the same as Vortex. So that means it lasts the same amount of time, which I believe is 5 seconds, and then its cooldown is now 2 seconds, technically. So you can use it as an infinite speed boost, if that makes sense. And believe it or not, with the damage calculation based on the damage multiplier, it actually has slightly more damage than Mighty Leap. So that means the only benefit of Mighty Leap is that it gives a slightly higher speed boost. Otherwise, the range and DPS for Blade Storm is significantly higher than Mighty Leap. Alright, we seem to be doing well so far. We haven't died a single time. And I think our time is still pretty good. So yeah, we should be able to stream roll this. Now one thing I don't think many of you notice, and in fact I didn't even notice at first, is with the higher frame rates in the Roblox settings, your camera actually shakes a lot more than normal. So it might be a little bit harder for some bosses. One thing that also bugs the heck out of me in these older dungeons is Voldex actually removed almost every single sound from these dungeons. Like this Kraken, he used to be able to make sound every time his tentacles slammed down. And for the harpoon gunners in this dungeon, they used to have a shooting sound, but now they don't. And also, the harpoon gunners used to have a gun that they actually shoot and a hat, similar to the Raiders. But I don't know why Voldex decided to remove those. That's really weird. Alright, we're still doing well. We have a little under 8 minutes at the second boss. And I'm pretty good at the second boss already. I know a lot of people struggle learning this guy, especially when this dungeon was still new. But we should be okay. What the heck? That hit me? So based on the damage that it dealt about 155k. So that means it's gonna kill me in 3 hits. Because I have almost 400k, and that means maybe just a little under 200k would kill me in 2 hits. So we can survive quite a bit, actually. Whilst before, in Ghastly Harbor, before Voldex nerfed the heck out of its damage, you needed a recommended HP of 800k just to survive 3 hits or 2 hits from bosses, because they just dealt so much damage. Okay, we have 6 minutes here. We should be able to beat this no problem. If we do find Gregg, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to beat him if I get rid of my ult, because it spawns 2 coins if there's 2 players. So every time it spawns a coin, I will need to reset my ult so it doesn't spawn more coins and make it impossible. Okay, I'm at least hoping for a Gregg spawn so we can get an extra 3 items. Okay, I guess no Gregg this round. Now, if you guys remember from older dungeon quests, you'll probably know that the bosses in Ghastly Harbor actually had way more HP than they do right now. As you can see with 2 players, the Sea Serpent has 45.3 billion. But when Ghastly Harbor released, this boss actually had 55 billion. So I have no clue why Voldex and VCafe nerfed it so much, because I don't even think the HP is that big of a problem. I think it was more so of the damage they dealt and how difficult some of the attacks were. I don't even think the boss is that hard even. Now, of course, I'm still playing Dungeon Quest a lot, and Abyssal Void is like a million times harder than Ghastly Harbor ever was, but at the time, I was still able to beat this constantly on hardcore mode. Alright, there we go, we beat him. And these are mage items, unfortunately. These defenders, and it's a mage spell. So we didn't really get anything, unfortunately. So I think I'm gonna turn on hardcore mode, and then let's get right back into a dungeon. Okay, so since I beat Nightmare already, I'm actually able to use the Nightmare items now. Now, I did clean up my inventory a little bit, so I don't have the 2 items I got from Gregg. But I am keeping these axes, because these are better than the Captain's Anchor, at least when fully upgraded. So, yeah, let's just start another dungeon. Now, I have turned on hardcore mode, so we will die if we die, I guess. But I mean, in the last round, I did take a couple hits, but it wasn't so much that it killed me, so that's fun. Okay, that would have gone terribly wrong, but luckily, nothing hit us. Oh man, I'm definitely feeling the XP reduction. Like, we're leveling up so slowly compared to all the other dungeons. Now, I do know XP really starts getting slow in Volcanic Chambers, and it gets even slower for Aquatic Temple Nightmare difficulty. So it's going to take us a really long time getting to the next dungeons after Orbital Outpost. Now, if you guys remember, Voldex actually bridged the gap between Steampunk Sewers and Orbital Outpost, so now Orbital Outpost is an appropriate difficulty jump for Steampunk Sewers players. But in doing so, Nightmare difficulty is actually ridiculously easy now for Steampunk Sewers, which I think is kind of a bad move. I think what Voldex should have done is buffed both Insane and Nightmare difficulty, while also buffing their item stats, because the weapons and armor in Steampunk Sewers today are equivalent to the tier 30 sets in original boss raids. In fact, for some reason, Voldex decided to change the weapons so they're basically at Orbital Outpost insane levels of power. In fact, they're way stronger than the original tier 30 weapons. Like, the legendary is basically as strong as an Orbital Outpost Nightmare weapon. So that means if you got one of the legendaries, you actually not need an upgrade from Orbital Outpost unless you got to Nightmare difficulty. Which I think is a really bad decision, because it makes these dungeons ridiculously easy. Now, of course, it's not completely easy because you still have to dodge everything and learn the dungeon, but in terms of your damage output, you would deal so much damage that you could be able to kill them in like 2 or 3 spell cycles. So I don't know what was going on the development side of that dungeon. I just think it was a really bad choice to make the weapons so strong. Alright, 116. I was really hoping to find Gregg on that one. He can still spawn on this one, so I'm still hoping we find Gregg. Okay, no Gregg this round. Alright, please give me something good. Alright, okay, that's actually not bad. We got some warrior armor and a warrior weapon. Alright, that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna continue grinding some runs and then I'll come back to you guys once I'm level 120. Okay, so I've been grinding for about an hour and a half, and here's what I was able to get. So I was able to pull a full Hunter's Warrior set and this purple dual Phantom Axes. As for spells, I did get Pulse Beam, and I guess that's really it. Nothing super interesting. I did also drop this gray mythical mage armor. Its pot is decent, but it definitely could be a lot better than this. So overall, I think it's a decent set. It's not too bad. I mean, also our gold is not really that high, but it's okay. We can run Steampunk Sewers with what we currently have. So I'm gonna sell a bunch of this stuff first. Okay, so we actually pulled a lot more gold than I thought it would have, but I'm not gonna spend the gold right now. I think I'm just gonna save up my gold for when I get Steampunk Sewers items. And then, yeah, let's get into some runs and see how we do. So contrary to belief, I actually think Steampunk Sewers is in desperate need for a buff because Voldex nerfed the heck out of it and even VCafe nerfed the heck out of it. Like, I don't even think this dungeon is that hard even. Like, compared to Ghastly Harbor, this is way easier. So the enemies have 21 billion. That is basically half of their base HP. So we should be able to get this down no problem, as it is actually possible to beat Steampunk Sewers Nightmare before Voldex nerfed it using Ghastly Harbor items. Now I'll give it this, it was hard because you had to basically be perfect in everything. But the fact that it was possible definitely gave a damage range to beat this. Now normally I would connect the groups and then kill them all that way because it is actually a little bit faster, but because of what Voldex did to the enemy AI, they don't follow you if you are far enough away from them, which is strange because in VCafe's era, all the minions would follow you regardless of how far you were away from them if they were damaged. Okay, first boss. It has 116B. That is slightly higher than base HP. Yeah, that's a bad spot. Now this boss I really hated because of how much RNG it had. Like those spinning lines around you, a lot of times I get trapped from those, and the circles that he's spawning right now, these are randomly positioned, and without a speed spell, sometimes you can get trapped from that. See, like that. A lot of times I get trapped on 2 lines like that, and if I get trapped like that, there's just no way I can escape. Looks like his health is also going down really slowly, so that might be a bad sign for my damage. Now I'll give it this, my weapon is not upgraded that much, and also my armor isn't really the best it could be, so yeah, my damage is going to be low. But I'm hoping we at least get far enough into the dungeon that it could theoretically be possible. It also looks like the damage dealt from this boss is about the same as Ghastly Harbor's bosses, which is completely strange. Okay, we have a little under 6 minutes left. That might not be enough time because typically you want 6 minutes and 30 seconds past the first boss. Now honestly, with these older dungeons, I was really hoping VCAP or Voldex would just nerf their damage and give maybe even a small HP nerf. And why do we have to find Gregg now? So because of how tight my time is, I'm just gonna let Gregg go. Because killing my ult 2 times to spawn the coins, that's gonna take away 20 seconds, and that could be a big difference. Now, if you saw my other Ghastly Harbor Nightmare runs, you'll probably know that I actually did not kill Gregg on any of my runs, even though I really tried to. Now, I have no clue what I did differently then compared to now that allowed me to kill Gregg, but I have no clue why I was not able to kill Gregg this time. Now once we get to Orbital Outpost, I'll have to check what spells you can actually drop on Steampunk Sewers because I don't know what boss rate spells Voldex added to these dungeons. I do know the ideal mage spells drop on Orbital Outpost Nightmare, so I can't use those to beat it. I'll have to check for the warrior spells though. I need to see which ones we can actually drop because I don't know what warrior drops and I haven't played Steampunk or Orbital Outpost with warrior for quite some time. So our time is pretty bad. I think I may have to upgrade my gear to deal more damage because it's not really that the minions are a problem, it's more or less the bosses because they have a lot of HP. Okay, the second boss. Now this boss is actually quite hard. It is the hardest boss out of all the bosses in Steampunk Sewers, at least from a dodging standpoint. The first boss is hard just because of the broken RNG it has. But this boss, because of that sprinkler attack on the ground and that yellow orb that it occasionally spawns, good range spells are definitely needed for this boss to kill it quickly. Now this spot is where I would prefer mage because mage speed spells actually have significantly more range than the warrior speed spells. At least until this dungeon, because arrow rain has about the same range as pulse waves. Okay, there's no way we're gonna be able to kill the boss. I mean, we're killing this guy really slowly. Maybe next round I can try using Pulse Beam on these bosses, because Pulse Beam has noticeably more DPS than Blade Storm. Now, of course, it's at the cost of my speed boost, but I will take whatever I can get for more damage. Now, what's funny about Steampunk Sewers is after Voldex bridged the gap between Orbital and Steampunk, insane item stats actually did not get changed, so they're still the same as they always were. It's just that the nightmare items were changed, so they're absolutely busted. Okay, I don't know how that killed me. But yeah, we only have a minute left and we're still on this guy. So we spend a little over 2 minutes killing him. So we might need more damage. Let's at least get past this guy before we run out of time. Okay, so decent progress. We definitely need to be upgrading our gear more because my armor is not even upgraded to full, and same with my weapon. So I'm gonna get back to lobby, upgrade my stuff, and then let's go in for another run. Okay, so this time I'm going to try using Pulse Beam for all the bosses. For the minions, I'm still going to keep my Blade Storm because of these siege bots and melee minion. Alright, let's see how we do with Pulse Beams. I am expecting to die a few times because I don't have my speed boost. But let's just see how we do. Okay, I have no clue how that didn't kill me because that was just really bad RNG that I put all of them over there. But we're dealing much more damage than before. Excuse me, what? I swear I was out of the circle. Oh well, at least we're almost there. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking there, but I have no clue how I survived that. So the armor upgrade is actually making a lot more of a difference than I thought it would be. It literally increased my damage by 100 million. Alright, so we're doing well. As long as we don't die too much, then I'm pretty sure we should be able to beat this with my current set. I am hoping to get a new weapon because that's what I'm really needing the most. Okay, we have a little under 5 minutes. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm just going to use Pulse Beam, and if I get in a tight spot, then I just switch to Blade Storm. But this is just so I can deal as much damage as possible, and most importantly, outrange this safe box, because speed spells cannot hit him from there unless you're using Smite or Arrow Rain. Oh god, I don't know how that didn't kill me. Excuse me. Okay, dude, I lagged a little bit. I couldn't see where it went. Okay, we should be able to beat the main boss with how much time we have. 3 minutes is typically good after the first or after the second boss. Alright, boss time. Let's see how we do. Oh yeah, I forgot. Voldex changed it so those hitboxes are through the ground for some reason. Now, in my opinion, I think the Cannon Blaster 2000 is actually the easiest out of all the Steampunk Sewers bosses. The only really bad part is the RNG lines it does when it starts attacking like those. Sometimes you can get trapped by those still, but as long as you keep your distance, then you should be okay. It's also funny how for this attack where he covers the whole map in this hitbox, then that Voldex removed the gears that would fall down. Alright, we got him. What do we get? Ooh, weapon. Dual fusion blades. I have no clue what tier this is, but this Plasma Spell Blade's tier 1. This Hextech Katana is also tier 1. Alright, pretty good. So let's get back into lobby and upgrade our stuff. Okay, so while I'm here, I think I might as well do my boss raids now, because Steampunk Sewers Insane is quite difficult still with my current gear, and I know I could have done boss raids later to get level 130 rings, but I think that's gonna take a little bit too long, and I want to minimize the grind as much as possible. So I'm just gonna upgrade my dual fusion blades, and then I'm going to do my boss raids and come back to you then. Alright, so as you saw, we actually got a few purple rings. I got 2 warrior rings and a mage ring, so let's see what these are. So the warrior power reduces damage, increases HP, and increases boss damage. That's just okay, I guess. This technique ring reduces damage taken and increases damage dealt. That's not too bad actually. It does reduce my HP quite a bit, but that's nice, I guess. I also got this purple Hextech polearm, and if you don't know what this is the best mage weapon from Steampunk Sewers Insane. So that's just great. Other than that, we didn't really get anything of note. I also got this gray titanium warrior armor. And the reason this is special is titanium is actually always better than the mythical sets, believe it or not. I think I mentioned this in one of my other videos, I don't remember specifically which one, but the titanium sets in Steampunk Sewers are actually always better than the mythical sets from Ghastly Harbor. Like, you could even have the worst pot, gray titanium piece, and that would still be better than a god pot, purple mythical piece. So I'm going to upgrade my gear, and then I'm going to get back to grinding Steampunk Sewers, and then I'll show you guys what I get. Alright, so it's been an hour of grinding, which felt like flipping forever, but I was able to pull a pretty good set. As you can see, I have a purple fusion greatsword, a green titanium warrior set, and I managed to pull arrow rains. So this set should be more than enough to beat Nightmare. I am expecting to die a couple times. If we do find Gregg, I am also expecting to be able to beat him, because with this set, I'm actually able to kill Gregg very easily. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty nice. So let's sell my stuff really quick. Okay, so we have quite a lot of gold. As you can see, I have 1.23 billion. But I'm gonna put all this gold towards the nightmare items we're gonna get, because nightmare items are absolutely busted for Steampunk Sewers. So yeah, let's get into a run. Okay, so if you weren't paying attention to my runs, I actually increased my HP to start doing hardcore rounds, because I figured the most important part of doing hardcore is just not dying. So yeah, we did a lot of hardcore runs and we got a lot of loot. So yeah, pretty nice. So looking at their HP, it's 53.5 billion roughly. So that's slightly below the pre-nerf HP, as before they had 55 billion HP. So yeah, we should be able to beat this. I think the bosses will have around 300 B or 280 or something around there, which is higher than Steampunk Sewers day 1 HP. So bosses will have a pretty big jump in HP. Either way, we should be able to beat this pretty easily. I mean, we have a green titanium set and this purple sword, so that's nice. Okay, 273B. I'm just gonna stick with my arrow range so I can avoid the attacks as best as I can. Oh, that killed me? Bro. Okay, that's something to keep in mind. The bosses deal 800k or 700k, I don't remember. But yeah, that killed me instantly. That's surprising. But to be fair, all the Steampunk Nightmare armors have a ridiculous amount of HP, so I guess it's fine that Voldex didn't change the damage of these bosses. But that will also mean I have to be careful. Now, as soon as we get one Nightmare piece that is not a spell, I'm pretty sure we're absolutely gonna steamroll this dungeon. Because as I mentioned earlier, the weapons are basically orbital outpost weapons, and the armors are basically tier 20 to tier 30 armor sets. So yeah, they're absolutely busted. Our time right now is a little bit spotty, but I did die once, so it might be possible with my current set and their HP. But the basic fundamentals I should keep in mind, or at least the time requirements for this dungeon every time we reach a certain stage, I should still keep in mind. Like for the main boss, I should keep 2 minutes with me, because 2 minutes is typically good to beat the boss with. Now, of course, that cycle is broken in Yokai Peak and Abyssal Void because the bosses had so much HP. So at that point, I think 3 minutes for the main boss is good. I think we're doing good. We have just below 5 minutes and we're at this guy. I will stick with Arrow Rain, which might hinder my DPS since Arrow Rain is just barely able to outrange the space to hit him, if that makes sense. And what's also another benefit is Arrow Rain is a stationary spell, so it doesn't move when you move. So that's really nice. Excuse me, that hit me? Okay, well, I am noticing the damage for bosses is a bit less than before, but it dealt 520k, which is decent, I guess. I know originally it did 900k to 1M, so it's quite a big nerf nonetheless, but it's still quite high damage. Okay, I don't know what I was doing there. Okay, unless I get some armor, maybe I should lower my HP so the boss will two-shot me, because with 900k it will actually two-shot me, so that extra HP boost isn't really gonna help me. Okay, our time is spotty, but we should be able to beat it as long as we don't die. Okay, the Cannon Blaster has 294 billion. That should be manageable, right? Okay, I'm just gonna kill him. This might be a risky play, but if I die, then it's over. There we go, we got him. Easy peasy. And we got warrior stuff. Okay, armor and a weapon. Apparently this is quite low. So, yeah, we got some stuff. So I'm gonna go back to lobby and upgrade these things. Okay, so these items, like I mentioned before, are absolutely busted. As you can see, this has 1 million physical power, while this weapon, if fully upgraded, would have 400,000 power. So yeah, steampunk weapons are busted. Now thinking about it, maybe I should have upgraded my armor first, because I think I can afford some of the upgrades here. But whatever, I guess let's just use it. So, I guess it's back to grinding, and yeah, I'll see you guys when I finish my grind. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this episode of Noob to Godly. We managed to get through the entirety of Steampunk Sewers this episode, and I hope you'll join me next time where we're going to be going through the entirety of Orbital Outpost. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.